This book had been on my list for, I feel like, years, and I found it in my thrift store for like $1. So I was really excited, and well, let me just say, it is Being Mortal, and it seems like a heavy topic and one that you may not really be in the mood to read a lot, but it actually starts out very bearable, and like I found myself having a hard time putting it down. Like I really wanted to continue getting through, and it had a lot of really encouraging stories, and it does make you think about death and the end of life a lot, but mostly in a positive way. And so I think I did cry a little bit in it, but I think it is such an important read because everyone is going to die, and it's helpful to think about these things in advance. Or if you are a doctor or a nurse, it is a very good read. And the author, I believe, was a surgeon. So it just has really good stories in it that can apply to anyone, and it talks about how to live a more meaningful life that you want to live in the end stages, and how to help a family member who is trying to do that and enjoy the end of life phase instead of continuing to put stress on your body. And I don't know, just read it. Oh, okay. So this is definitely a 5-star book. I'm trying to do like the book of the month as something that, like, these are the favorites, the very best books that I've read throughout the year. So I do read around 70 or 80 books a year now. And so a lot of them are not that special. And I have been reading a lot of good books this year though, but not all of them are worth reading or especially worth recommending to a very wide audience. But this one is, it is very well written. You know, it's not too difficult to understand. I have been a caregiver for one of my grandparents and for my father in their last year of life. That may also be something you face. I am going to read a few places that I marked because this is not like a novel where it's going to be this huge spoiler if I read it. But oh my goodness, it has sections that talk about nursing homes and how some people change certain things, like putting plants, live plants in the nursing home, and sometimes having the person who is in that nursing home room be the one who takes care of it and waters it, and like that is enough purpose and activity and just the health of a living plant being in their room is enough to like bring them back to life in a sense. And it also talks about how people who go on hospice earlier often live longer, even though that was not the goal. The goal was for them to be comfortable in the days before dying. But it talks about how the hospice nurse would ask, like, what are they wanting for their last few months or whatever. And I'm trying to say this without spoiling it. And so some people would choose to continue in their profession that they had done for ages and just do it from their home. Or other people said they just want to be able to still eat ice cream and watch TV, or be able to manage their pain to where they can still talk to family and friends and just have them over, or to be able to go to this wedding that is coming up. And so it's just really beautiful. My mom is a hospice nurse, so I'm actually going to send this to her next. and she has had this book recommended to her as well. But so many of these stories just make me so happy. So let me just read a couple of things though. Oh, okay. So this gets to what I was trying to talk about. Okay, so this one is in the chapter called Dependence. For me, it's on page 77. And it says, it's talking about the goal frequently being, like the goal of nursing homes, I think, being to free up hospital beds and take burdens off of families. But it's usually not for the goal that really matters to people who reside in them, which is how to make life worth living when we're weak and frail and can't fend for ourselves anymore. So that kind of goes back to how hospice has been able to help with that. And some people just want to be in their own home. And so it talks a lot about living in a place where you're allowed to choose what you do. You're allowed to choose to walk without a walker, even though you're a fall risk. And then it also talks about, this is in the chapter called Assistance, page 97 for me, how we seek to spend our time may depend on how much time we perceive ourselves to have. And it talks about that a lot and was really helpful. And I had a car wreck in my 20s where it was raining and I put on the brakes to slow down and I just skidded into the side of the mountain, and I really thought that I was just gonna be dead and my mom was gonna find me bloody, and I felt so bad. Like, that was my thought. I think I literally said out loud, "Sorry, mama," and that was gonna be my last words, even though no one was there. Like, I really thought that, and of course there was nothing but a seatbelt burn. And like, thank God. But that experience still got me to realize, like, okay, from here on out, it's just like free living. I thought I was dead and I get to continue to live. And so it did change the way that I view life and look at life, even though I'm perfectly fine. Oh, my ears were ringing. And also there was like smoke from the airbag and I didn't know what it was, and I thought, like, I immediately got out of the car. I was like, I'm okay, let me get out of the car, I think it's on fire. So anyway, that's my little side story. And let's see, but I highlighted this as well. When you see the future ahead of you as finite and uncertain, your focus shifts to the here and now, to everyday pleasures and the people closest to you. And I really love thinking about that and talking about that. So read it. Oh, it spent more than a year on the New York Times bestseller list. So this is nonfiction. I feel like it can really change your life. So, and while I do a book of the month, my main focus of the channel is not about books, but I do have a playlist just for book of the month. So I will link to that in the description. But I really just talk about simplifying life at home. And so if that's something that interests you, I would love for you to subscribe. I am currently doing a series on becoming clutter-free by Christmas. And so I'll also link to that playlist if that's something you're interested in, decluttering your home, because there are so many wonderful benefits. It gives you so much freedom, and it's part of why I have time to create a YouTube channel. It makes it where I'm not losing things as much. I'm not shuffling stuff around to get to other things. So it's also something that really changes your life once you do it. So I highly recommend it as well. Oh, and the subtitle is Medicine and What Matters in the End. But I'm not like a medical person, so you don't have to be for it to be really good and insightful and helpful. Okay, one more story just in case some people who are hospice nurses watch this. It's that my mom told me, and she may have read it in a book or something. She heard it, oh no, I think it was another nurse that was part of her training or something. I should really just make her share this story. But they would leave a rose, and I mean, it was like a fake rose. I mean, you could get them at Dollar Tree probably. But they would just take a single rose and put it on the pillow of the person who passed away, so that the next time the family looks and sees their bed where their loved one was after the body has been taken, they see that rose. And that's just like so beautiful to me. I don't know why I love that, but my mom did that for years, and people would tell her that it meant so much to them and that that they loved it. And that it just helped to not see the empty bed as the first thing after. So for any hospice nurses out there, that could be a nice thing to try. Okay, I just feel like I can't end on that note. So I hope you're having a good day. I hope this hasn't ruined your day. I know it's kind of heavy, but I think it's also helpful and important and nice to talk about, because people are dealing with death and loss all the time. And I would love to hear your story of something that helped you or a loved one as they were on hospice or towards the end of their lives. Because I do think it makes difficult things easier to talk about when we do realize that there are positive and beautiful and meaningful things about it, and that it doesn't all have to be horrible and terrible and depressing, but that there can be joy and love. And that does remind me, I think this is a good note to end on, actually. It reminds me of the last time I saw my grandpa. I was visiting their house and walking down their stairs to their basement, about to leave, and he was like, "Come here and give me a big squeeze." And that wasn't something he had ever said before. I mean, I guess we probably hugged goodbye a lot, and like that was normal, but I just remembered him saying that because it was so unique to me, and it was just a great hug, and I remembered it because of that. And then I was in college at the time, and so I didn't go and visit him in the hospital, but also I partly did that because I did want that last memory of him to be of that hug and that moment in his home. And because I knew a lot of the rest of my family was there with him, and so I didn't feel the need to be there too. So I also wanted to share that to show that people deal with grief in different ways, and I would love to hear some ways that have helped you and been positive for you